Hi everyone, welcome back to Wrestling Fun with Father and Son. I'm Father Matt, and this is Son,
Hi.
and this is our Explosive Elite review for the 18th of the 3rd, 2020. Again, a bit like the WWE, a very different program, but it was different to the WWE, how they sort of done it as well, and we'll get into that as well. And I think at the end they'll say which of the two programs I think did it better and sort of rise to the challenge of this extreme circumstance that the world's going through. Anyway, start off with Cody doing an in-ring promo about basically how we should stand together. Obviously in America they say stand together, but to be fair, it's a global thing. We need to stand together as a world to try and fight this virus. He said about Adam Page and Matt Jackson working together to sort of work out the differences to try and sort of coexist, because next week we've got Blood and Guts, that cage match, and there's a match later on with 3 members of the Inner Circle versus 3 members of the Elite, and the winner of that would get advantage in that match. He then did a sort of pep talk to the members of the Elite, saying, we've got to beat the Inner Circle and all that, and called out Matt and Kenny Omega, who came out. Kenny Omega said that it was an uncertain time for the AEW, and that they didn't really know if they'd have a Dynamite next week. I think they will have a Dynamite next week. Obviously, it's already planned and they've booked it, but I think he's trying to say that with the uncertainty in the world, we kind of don't know what All Elite Wrestling, what's going to happen to them. I think they'll be okay, and I think this show sort of proved that they would be okay. We had basically that Matt said that Nick was out indefinitely, so I think he probably has got a genuine injury that he probably picked up at Revolution or something, or maybe he's had that for a little while. He's been working through it. They then called out Adam Page, who then they turned around and said to him, are you going to work with us? And he sort of did a nod with the glasses. That was kind of how they sort of did the first opening sort of sequence to it. It was sort of a arena type base place. Obviously no crowd again like the WWE, but this time they did it a little bit differently because they had wrestlers at ringside. So at least they had somebody there who, you know, it's not the same as sort of 2, 3, 4, 5. However many thousands of people chanting along and singing Jericho's theme tune and chanting away, but they at least had some people in the audience who give it a little bit of atmosphere and a little bit for the wrestlers to bounce off and that. I've seen some comments on Facebook and social media and all this that saying about, oh well, they shouldn't have had people in the audience. What about social distancing? To be fair, and at the end of the day, they've got 2 wrestlers or 3 wrestlers, 4 wrestlers in the ring. They're all close connected. If they're going to get the virus, they're going to get it as well as people in the audience. So I can see where they've done it. They want the atmosphere, and to be honest, they did have that little bit of separation between them in the crowd. They weren't sort of hunched all together. I think it worked really, really well. We had MJF and Sean Spears. They were kind of making bets and sort of, you know, they were bouncing off that sort of storyline that they were sort of betting on the matches and that. First match we had was Best Friends with Orange Cassidy, who was on commentary. Didn't say a lot, did he? Versus the Lucha Brothers, obviously of Death Triangle, no Pac. Then it was the Lucha Brothers that picked up the win. After the match, Tony Schiavone had a little interview with the Best Friends, who announced that there would be a
Street fight.
Yes, a street fight next week in a parking lot. He said if we're going to have a street fight, let's have it actually in the street. Let's have it in the parking lot. So that's quite nice. That is where the original term comes from, but I feel that WWE has sort of damped it down a little bit, and now it's just like a sort of no holds barred, no DQ match in the ring now, but they're actually bringing it back to old school parking lot. So that should be a very good, interesting match. I will say that they did announce some matches for next week, and they did actually make them like stipulation matches, which I think is quite clever, because they're kind of giving you the feel that they can go out in the parking lot, or they can do this, or they can have people around ringside with a lumberjack match and stuff like that, and the blood and guts match. They're kind of shaking up the variability of the matches, which is that a word? I don't really know. Is that a word? Variability? Anyway, you know what I mean. They're kind of trying to make it more entertaining instead of just having 5 tag team matches, and I really commend them for that. Next we had a fatal 4-way. It was Penelope Ford versus Rio versus Shida versus Statlander, and it was Shida who got the win, and I think in the future she's going to be going for that AEW Women's Championship. It looks like she's got a lot of steam. Next we had the Butcher and the Blade versus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. It was Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus that got the win. Then we had the Dark Order. Obviously, they've been teasing this Exalted One for weeks, and they finally came through. But we had to go through a little bit to get there. Evil Uno came out with Stu Grayson, and they did a bit of promo about the Exalted One, only for SCU, who were ringside in the crowd, to interrupt them, saying, "You're lying. There is no Exalted One. Can you just stop lying?" Only for then a video to appear on the screen, and it was the Exalted One, who turned out to be. Who was it?
Luke Harper.
Yep, Luke Harper, who's now going by the name of Brody Lee. So they've been teasing the Exalted One for weeks. It could have been Matt Hardy or Brody Lee. It turned out to be Brody Lee, which, you know, is what it is. They were teasing it was Matt Hardy for a long, long time, but it's turned out to be Brody Lee. They sort of cut away from the video back to the ring. Brody Lee's in the ring with Stu Grayson and Evil Uno, and they attack SCU, and that's how they ended that. I will say I don't like Brody Lee's ring attire. I don't think it's that. They need to do something different there. Maybe, you know, in the future there will be a little bit different. And then we get on to the main event, which was the Inner Circle, which was Santana, Ortiz, and Jake Hager with Sammy Guevara. He was there versus Cody, Adam Page, and Matt Jackson. Is that right, isn't it? Yes. And they had Kenny Omega as well, and Jericho came out and done commentary. I will say that Sammy Guevara, because obviously when Jericho comes out, his theme tune normally gets sung by the crowd, doesn't it, Kai? At the end of the day, what happened?
Sammy Guevara sang it.
Yeah, he sang it as well, instead of the audience, trying to sort of play off that, which I thought was a nice little comedy moment. I thought it was quite a little bit of a fun little sequence. In the end, it was Santana, Ortiz, and Jake Hager got the win. They now have advantage going into the Blood and Guts match, which, to be fair, yeah, I've seen people complain about the Inner Circle keep winning, and I'm getting a bit fatigued by them now, but hopefully at Blood and Guts they'll lose, and then they can start sort of, I don't know, making them sort of lose a little bit more, and then they can start to even the balance against the Inner Circle a little bit. After the match, we had like Jericho celebrating on the ramp with everyone, saying that they're the Inner Circle, that they're the best, they're this, they're that, and the other. Only for then this little noise to come through, and a drone came down into the middle of the ring. And you're saying it's 4-on-5. Actually, it's 5-on-5, because we made a phone call to this man, and there was a piano noise, and then they went up into the sort of stadium to the sort of boxes area, and who was there?
Matt Hardy.
Yes, broken Matt Hardy, and he signalled the delete sign. So
I think he's gonna keep the Matt Hardy name.
I think, yeah, he owns the broken gimmick, so this is going to be a very interesting time. We kind of knew that we kind of knew it was coming, but we weren't too sure, especially when he's been saying he's going here, there, and everywhere, and he could have turned on anywhere. He looked like he's now in All Elite Wrestling for the foreseeable future. Obviously, Vanguard won with the little hovery drone. So all I can say is, if we reflect on it, who did it better, WWE or AEW with the no crowd policy? I believe that AEW done it better, because they retained a little bit of a crowd with the superstars. Yes, people are a little bit sort of saying they should have done that. They're too close. They're not social distancing, or all of this. But to be honest, they go into it knowing the risks, and it's their choice whether they do that. And I can guarantee you that they asked the wrestlers and the superstars and all the people, are you happy to do that? And they probably all said yes. It gave a better atmosphere than just having dead silence. I don't think the silence works in WWE. It really does sort of kill the product a little bit, and it's going to kill WrestleMania. It's going to be a very strange WrestleMania this year, but I think it worked, and I think they had a better show. They had more wrestling. They didn't have no filler. They didn't actually have recorded matches like the WWE did. And I know the WWE probably had 5 minutes to come up with a program, and AEW had a little bit more time. But also, quick note: Jericho actually said in his promo that he was banning all fans from the arenas for the foreseeable future. That's a nice little way of getting around it as well, making it storyline that he's saying, "Stop this! I'm not having any fans chanting for Cody. I don't want any." So that was a nice little sort of get around. Also, the Brody Lee, Matt Hardy thing, I thought was done exceptionally well. I thought they'd done really, really well there. Whereas WWE would disappoint you and then never follow up with any sort of comeback and say, we know we've disappointed you, but here's a little bit that you could be happy with. AEW did exactly that. They said, yes, the Exalted One's not Matt Hardy, it's Brody Lee, but we're also going to give you Matt Hardy. And that I thought was done exceptionally well, and I was really, really happy with that. And I think AEW is going to thrive in this situation. I've seen that the ratings are up, and they're getting so close to 1 million views now. And I think next week they could get that 1 million views. They're doing so much. They're putting so much into that show as well, with a lumberjack match, with a park not street fight, and that blood and guts match. I think they're going to be set for the future here. I think this is going to be a very good time for them. Hopefully the wrestlers don't get sick or anything like that. That is obviously a fear that you could have, as some of the top wrestlers could get ill and then they're out for a couple of weeks. And then they're not there, but I think they've got enough talent in that roster to fill it out if they do actually have to sort of swap people in and out. I think they're going to do very well. So anyway, if you like this video, like, comment and subscribe, and let us know what you thought of the AEW this week and which one's doing better, WWE or AEW. Like I said this in the WWE video, it's hard to be critical at the moment because they're not doing a full show, but I will say that I thought the AEW show was a little bit better. So anyway, we'll leave it there, I think, because I've rambled a lot today because I'm really excited about that AEW Dynamite. Kai, were you excited? Good to see Matt Hardy, wasn't it? And Brody Lee. So, yep, I think we'll leave it there. So I'll say goodbye and say goodbye, Kai.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.